My name is Mark Abraham and I'm here to share some ideas with you about how the human mind works. After devoting some 30 years of my life to studying this subject, including my undergraduate, graduate and postgraduate studies, I have come to learn that the thinkers of the past, being so fascinated by human intellect, have studied humanity from the standpoint of intellect alone. Whereas there is a mighty mental force that more forcefully drives human conduct than does human intellect, and that of course is human instincts, three of which are universally known and accepted. I have identified 13 more, each of which induces its own brand of behavior. The thinkers of the past, by totally disregarding this mighty mental force, have created a missing link in studying humanity, and that missing link is responsible for this lingering human enigma. Learning this, I tried to learn about this missing link to the extent possible and integrate that into the equation of human studies, and by placing that in its rightful place, the picture you get from humanity is widely different from what we have come to learn. This study, as I have titled as the interactions between instinct and intellect and its impact on human behavior, allows you to disassemble the human mind into its individual components and then study each component separated from the others and learn about their properties, the function and the mission. And when you reassemble the mind, first you have an accurate inventory of what the human mind consists of, and second you learn which component longs for what and why we do what we do. In the course of this study, among other things, I have come to learn that these two mental forces of instinct and intellect coexisting in human mind, inevitably therefore they also co-function. However, because of the contrasting natures of the progressing intellect as compared to unchanging, unchangeable, stagnant and therefore primitive instincts, a growing divide has emerged in between these two mental forces, which has evolved in the course of human evolution to dangerous thresholds that indeed demands attention. The implications of this growing mental imbalance on the future of human civilization can never be exaggerated. And here's why. First of all, we need to realize that human intellect totally lacks personality and character, because unconditionally and indiscriminately it avails itself to achieving good and evil ends. To understand this, the use of an example might be helpful. For example, the Wright brothers, using this mental element of intellect, managed to invent airplane, which has immeasurably contributed to human progress in every way. And then another person comes, using the same mental element, ingeniously converts this beautiful invention into weapons of mass destruction and massacres 3,000 innocent lives in the most despicable way. And therefore we see that human intellect totally lacks character and personality. Understanding this, therefore, we need to invent ways to sever the relationship between the progressing intellect and primitive instincts, to deprive instinct from the fruits of progressing intellect, to secure the future of human civilization. Another thing we learn in this process is that because instincts are primary, original, and basic to all beings and humans, therefore as compared to intellect, which has been acquired in the course of time and through human evolution, instinct by far is more powerful than intellect, and as such it manages to reduce intellect to its mere tools and then use that to achieve its own objectives. And in doing so, these blind and blinding instincts in fact blur our reasoning ability and distort our judgment, and as a result of that, each and every human at all capacity functions below the intelligence level that otherwise is available to him or to her. By learning that through this study, learning what components human mind consists of and how they interrelate to one another, you can consciously control your instincts and free your intelligence from the tight grips of your blind and blinding instincts, and allow your intelligence to function in full force and immediately elevate your intelligence to higher orbits. And as larger number of humans in a global scale manages to do this, then in fact through this study we can even elevate the intelligence of human species on a global scale with little effort. And hopefully this increased intelligence would get translated into increased and advanced civility and civilization. Another benefit of this study lies in the fact that when we learn which component longs for what, then that helps us to understand and explain some of the most fundamental and inexplicable human practices, one of which is religion. Through this study, I raised the question, if somehow Jesus, Moses and Muhammad were never born, would their 2.5 billion followers go without any faith for thousands of years? Or would they too invent other religions as people in China, India, Korea, Japan and most part of Africa invented, and embrace them hard and fast? And the answer being rather obvious, therefore if Jesus, Moses, Muhammad and even Buddha were not responsible for the induction of all these religions, then what practical needs compelled humans to invent all these religions, and what forces have sustained them for thousands of years, despite the fact that each has been subjected to assault and insults of the others, and they still have managed to survive. When we look at it from this perspective, then we learn that these two contradicting mental forces of instinct and intellect from the start has created a mental condition that compels spirituality, and this spirituality finds expression in different religions. And it is for this reason that when you remove all the bells and whistles from religion, and when you look at them from inside out, at the core all you see are striking similarities, and when you look at the same religions from outside in, all you see are irreconcilable differences that sets the stage for hostilities and conflict. And through this, therefore, we can diffuse hostilities and conflict among religions. This study also lends itself perfectly well to study, to understand human inclinations towards fine arts, and also human inclinations towards sports, and what mental forces render humans incurably political, to the degree that Aristotle called man a political animal. And then also it lends itself perfectly well for us to understand human sexuality, all beings functioning under their instincts alone from sexual standpoint are either polygamous or monogamous. Humans alone are driven by instinct and intellect, one of which dictates polygamy and the other one dictates monogamy, and therefore humans are pulled in between two opposite forces, and this renders humans as the only being which is sexually confused. Thanks again for your time and interest in my project, and I hope you will introduce my website www.meetyourmind.com to your friends and associates, and I hope you will enjoy what I have worked for about 30 years. Thanks again for your interest, and God bless you.